Senate Community Affairs Legislation Committee, Parliament House, Canberra, on the 10th of October 2025. Malcolm Roberts, Senator, One Nation.
Senator Roberts.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for appearing. My questions are to the Australian Institute of Family Studies. In June this year, this headline rang out: 1 in 3 men report using intimate partner violence. That was plastered across the views. There was widespread coverage of research from the 10 to Men study by the Australian Institute of Family Studies, which found 1 in 3 men reported being violent towards their partners. Are you aware of that study?
Ms. Liz Neville here from the Australian Institute of Family Studies. Yes, I'm aware of that research.
Thank you. The Institute failed to mention in their report that almost a third, 30.9% of the men surveyed were victims of similar violence, which included both physical and emotional abuse. The correct headline should have been 1 in 3 men report using intimate partner violence and 1 in 3 men report being the victims of intimate partner violence. Why did you misrepresent the data presented in your own study?
Liz Neville, Director, Australian Institute of Family Studies.
We did not explore deeply the question of men's experience of violence because we were focused primarily on the experience of gender-based violence. There were other issues too in terms of the scope of the report, and I will hand now to Dr. Sean Martin.
Dr. Sean Martin, Australian Institute of Family Studies.
First of all, in terms of men's experiences around intimate partner violence, our approach was driven by external expertise, which suggested the acute need was around data on perpetration of intimate partner violence. Of course, there are other estimates around men's experiences of intimate partner violence, like the personal safety study, which points to 1 in 16 men having recently experienced intimate partner violence, and 1 in 4 women. So that was very much known. That was the approach that we took because we had to limit the scope of this particular report. What we didn't include in that report was men who solely experienced intimate partner violence, and again that was done purely because we needed to contain the scope of the study.
According to Dr. Sean Martin, our government is limiting the scope of commissioned reports to exclude some categories of male victims of intimate partner violence, whilst Liz Neville appears to have redefined the definition of gender-based violence to exclude male victims.
Let's move to coercive control. In September 2022, the AIFS was contracted by the Department of Social Services to deliver a literature review on coercive control in the context of family and domestic violence. Rather than present a comprehensive review of all the relevant data, AIFS chose to present coercive control as, quote, a gendered phenomenon, actively excluding all data on men's experiences as victims of coercive control from their literature review. Is it true that the ABS Personal Safety Survey of 2016, showing that 40% of emotional abuse victims were male, undergoing similar experiences to female victims?
I can't answer to that. I'm sorry.
Could you take it on notice?
It's a matter for the ABS.
Well, you used that material in your report for the Department of Social Services.
I'm happy to receive the document and provide a more fulsome answer on review of it.
Thanks, Minister. I'll continue. False sexual assault allegations. In 2021, 2 independent researchers, Tom Nankervell and John Papadimitriou, discovered that the AIFS had misrepresented data on the prevalence of false sexual assault allegations. Your figure, your institute's figure, which is 2021, was 5% of reports to police are false. But that was based on only selecting cases where the complainant admitted it was false or where the police proved the offence was false. After examining the data accurately, the correct figure turned out to be between 10 and 15%. Why did you wait until the researchers had contacted AIFS more than 50 times over 18 months before you quietly removed the misleading report? Why did it take 50 times over 18 months, and why did you not issue a retraction or any note on the page the report was on correcting the record?
Senator, I'm not aware of that particular matter, but I am very happy to take it under consideration if you're able to provide some further documentation.
I would like to extend my thanks to Senator Roberts, my gratitude to Pauline Hanson's One Nation Party for providing the only hope that a small minority of our political representatives care about the truth and care about the circumstance of men in our society. I do not deny the existence of discrimination against women or deny women's right to pursue equality with men. I am here to point out the denial of the existence of discrimination against men and the refusal of men's right to pursue equality with women. For 50 years, feminist ideologues have been appointed by successive governments as official representatives and have held exclusive authority over the issue of gender equality. For 50 years, feminist ideologues have used the opportunity to pursue gender equality for the benefit of women and to the exclusion of men. Feminists accused men of patriarchy, whilst women were provided every means necessary to pursue equality with men in a society which refused to apply this same concept and principles of gender equality to men. Feminists accused men of patriarchy, whilst our government denies men the same rights as women to represent the issue of equality on behalf of ourselves. In our society, it is only men who are expected and willing to make concessions to make life fair from women, whilst women have refused to make concessions to make life fair for men. Feminists continue to promote the false belief of a society based on patriarchy when nothing could be further from the truth. As feminists shout their protest, "Equality for women," from their insular and self-absorbed perspective, they deluded themselves to believe that gender equality is being pursued. I refuse to accept the feminist definition of gender equality to provide a menu from which only women can choose. I refused to accept feminist dictated terms. Feminists were provided a historical opportunity to show humanity how compassionate and fair-minded women can be. But instead, feminists have shown a malicious disregard for anyone but themselves. Feminists have shown humanity how women can be the dishonest and divisive architects of a systemic and legislated culture of discrimination against men in a society which refuses to care. Feminists did all this not because they believed what they were doing was right, but because nobody cared what they're doing is wrong. Feminists are guilty of the wholesale exploitation of humanity's most fundamental prejudice. Feminist failure to pursue the ideology of gender equality could not be more complete. Feminists have historically proven for all eternity they are no different than those they hold in contempt. The representation men have on this issue comes from volunteers in the men's movement who dedicate their unpaid time and efforts to try to stem the relentless tide of state-sanctioned contempt and discrimination against men. For men, there is a complete absence of any official means to challenge the sexist hypocrisy or to stem the tide of systemic discrimination or to represent the issue of equality on behalf of ourselves. Men's only means of pursuing equality is to shame the shameless by shouting from the sidelines at the prejudicially deaf. Our voices are met by an impenetrable wall of silence in a society which refuses to care. Our free and democratic society has not only failed to learn the lessons of humanity's most recent history, but has also failed in its most fundamental responsibility to treat us all as equals. A failure so widespread and complete, it strikes at the heart of our founding institutions. Feminists have redefined democracy as a means to deny men our most fundamental human rights. Our compassion for some at the expense of others has become the means to perpetrate discrimination against those for whom society does not care. For a century, a society which has manifestly failed to grasp the most rudimentary truth, the concepts and principles of gender equality must be universally applied.